Lokanath Maharaj was there on the walk. Srila Prabhupada had asked him at one point of the walk what these particular type of berries on the side of the road were. And Lokanath Maharaj was describing that these are such and such berries. Great yogis and sannyasis subsist on the berries, perform meditation and subsist on these berries for their foodstuffs only. Prabhupada said, yes, our men should learn how to do like this. Chant Hare Krishna, eat a few berries, and once in a week, go down to the village and beg a chapati from the village. So devotees were looking at each other because sometimes Srila Prabhupada would give instructions that would change everyone's life forever. Go to China or who knows. Srila Prabhupada was our guru, he could say anything. So immediately a few of the GBC men, maybe some of the householders, said, well, Prabhupada, we have to preach, we have to go back and perform our activities. Prabhupada said, no, you should learn to be able to do like this. Chant Hare Krishna, eat few berries, sit in the forest, and once in a week go down to the village and beg some chapati. And devotees everyone was very silent. They thought, my God, we may have to do this. And then Prabhupada went on to say, of course, Lokanath Maharaj was very happy. He was hoping that this would be, I think he was hoping this would be one instruction as a very austere, saintly person. Prabhupada then said, this is sadhu. This is saintly. We should be able to do like this. This is the life of a sadhu. So that was kind of a significant little pastime with Lokanath Maharaj and Prabhupada. Another time, in '76, in Mayapur, we were in a little room conversation with Srila Prabhupada. He was speaking mostly in Hindi. We were there in the front row. It was a very small room in Sridham Mayapur. And people were being asked to come in and then go out. And Mahabodhi Prabhu was at the door giving people the instruction, who should come in, who should go out. A certain point during the darshan, a big plate of sweets came into the room. Mahabodhi was holding onto the sweets. A few people noticed it was a very large plate of sweets. So Srila Prabhupada stopped his darshan and asked Mahabodhi, why don't you pass out these sweets? And Mahabodhi responded that, well, Srila Prabhupada, I'll pass out the sweets as they all leave, as the devotees leave. And Prabhupada was sitting with one knee up, I remember. We were there in the front row with Tripurari Maharaj. And Prabhupada looked around and said, leave? They will never leave. And everybody in the audience was, Jai Prabhupada. Everyone was, considered that that was a blessing that Prabhupada was giving. Of course, making a joke also. 1976 in New Vrindavan, we were fortunate to be in a darshan with Srila Prabhupada. It was the darshans during when Prabhupada was lecturing on the Bhavan Journal, which became the book Civilization and Transcendence. Prabhupada was there were questions from the Bhavan Journal, and Srila Prabhupada was giving the answers outdoors at one householder's place in New Vrindavan, summer of 1976. And during this time, Srila Prabhupada had been lecturing the devotees that they should know the books like a lawyer knows his law books. We should study the books very carefully. And at that time, I believe, 76 summer, it was still 7th canto had just come out. Devotees didn't know most of those verses from the Prahlad pastimes. So Srila Prabhupada came to a point in the lecture where he was giving some discussion on the teachings of Prahlad. And he said, so go find that verse. I think it was maybe Naivodvijay Paraduratya Vaitaranyas, which was new to devotees at that time. 7th canto had just come out. Some verse that was new to devotees. So the sannyasis were feverishly going through the books, Drishtadyumna Maharaj, Kirtananda Swami, because they knew the days previous, Srila Prabhupada had become a little bit disturbed when the devotees couldn't find the verses properly, and had given that quote, learn the books like a lawyer knows his law books. So devotees were feverishly looking through the book. They couldn't find it, maybe 3-4 minutes. Many devotees were here to witness this. I know Naikatma was with us and many devotees. I think it's even Harisari told this story in his diary. Srila Prabhupada then asked, we were all very amazed, give me the book. They gave Srila Prabhupada the book. He opened the book very nonchalantly and handed it to one of his servants and said, read. And then they read the exact verse that Srila Prabhupada had quoted. And devotees were amazed. Prabhupada didn't, the place was not marked. Prabhupada simply took the book, opened it, it was right there. Devotees in amazement at this transcendental magic, at Srila Prabhupada's abilities. In unison, everyone was, Jai Prabhupada. And I remember Prabhupada put his head back and Acha. You know, it was a very, Prabhupada was smiling and put his head back, yes. We were all extremely amazed. Still, it's amazing story.